Hello and welcome to For the Love of Nature, a podcast where we tell you everything you need to know about nature and probably more than you wanted to know. I'm Laura.
And I'm Katy, and today we're going to be talking about how several species alive today are very similar to their prehistoric ancestors, aka living fossils.
Yes, and I kind of feel a little like a living fossil because we haven't had episodes for the last 2 weeks. We've just been...
Laura.
I know, it is all completely... Well, it's my computer's fault. So,
it is.
Sorry, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us. I really wanted to, but my computer crashed, and everything we'd recorded was gone. So Laura learned her lesson that immediately after recording, I will be uploading these files to the drive so that they are not lost forever into the ether.
What's funny is, normally you are the one that uploads everything first, and I'm always the one straggling behind. And this time, I was the one that was like, boom, gonna have it up, and... Yep. So here we are, but now that the computer is fixed, and I can edit things again, because I couldn't edit. I have a laptop, but it's a Chromebook, so it doesn't have, anything. It can't do anything
specific for Microsoft. I couldn't use the Yeti, I couldn't... So we just held off, and now you can hear good quality audio, hopefully. As we...
Crisp.
Just crisp. As we talk about living fossils. All right, so let's get started, I guess. So really quick, before we dive into, Katy and I are doing the normal thing where we each chose 2 different living fossil species. I want to talk about what is a living fossil. So I didn't know that Darwin coined the term. But he did, and he said it's a species or group of species that has remained so little change that it provides an insight into earlier, now extinct forms of life. But he did say it was a fanciful term, air quotes.
Fanciful.
Because, really, it does have no clear, measurable definition.
Yeah. What do you include that? Is it just your older best friend, or is it, an actual...
Yeah. Well, some people focus on the different parts of it. Some people focus on the fact that it's, an evolutionary relic.
Yeah.
Some people focus on the part where it's little change through time. And then some people talk about it in terms of Lazarus taxa, which is ones that people thought were extinct but actually aren't. So it just means different things to different people.
Of course, because it's science, and so nothing is consistent. Yes. Everything has to be way more complicated than what it needs to be.
Well, right, and because it's science, we're always learning new things, and species are always changing. So it's a very relative, ever-changing term, because evolution is always happening, even if it's just little tiny bits. So nothing is the exact same as when it first started.
Ever.
But these ones just, in comparison to other things, haven't changed as much. And actually, I did find a study done that they developed a proposed evolutionary performance index.
What?
It basically means that they looked at the number of species within the clade, or within that, what's the clade? It's not one of the levels. It's more of a
grouping of grouping of them.
And it looks at how long that group's been around, and then at the relative number of changes since they first appeared, and then that number, after putting all of that together, is the evolutionary performance index. So that tells you if it's technically a living fossil, at least according to their calculations.
I really just need to coin a random term, make a sturdy definition, and just be like, this is what it is. Do it. And you put it...
It's coined. I put it on Urban Dictionary.
You did put it in Urban Dictionary. What do we say? SPD? Oh, yeah.
I suffer from SPD, suppressed public dancing. Only a lot of times it does just come out. I'm not really that suppressed.
Only a little suppressed. It's fine.
Only a bit.
All right. What do you want me to... Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so what is one of those ones that hasn't changed very much? The tuatara.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so a lot of people, I think, have never even heard of a tuatara. So it is a little bit of natural history first. The tuatara, that name, is actually Maori for peaks on back or spiny back. Okay. Because they have spines on their back.
Okay, but listen, you guys know I drink whenever we record these. And so for a second I was like, peaks? Like a peekaboo? Like peaks on?
I peek at their back.
I peek at their back. No,
spiny back.
spines. P-E-A-K. We're good. Good.
They live on 32 to 37 small New Zealand islands in burrows, which is really cute to think of them peeking out. And they look like lizards, but they're not. They are a reptile, so they're related to lizards, crocodiles, turtles, and snakes, but they're their own thing. They're olive green to brown to even an orange and red color, with spines down their back, sort of like an iguana. And the males are about 20 to 31 inches long and about 1 to 3 pounds. So
they're not as cute
size.
peeking out of a burrow as you would expect.
But they are kind of cute.
They are. Their faces are cute.
They're not lizards.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got like really big dark eyes. And they do look a lot like an iguana, I think.
Yeah, they do. No, they definitely do.
So they eat mostly invertebrates, but also eggs, chicks, other lizards, and even their own babies, other baby tuataras. So it's brutal. But what's really cool, well, there's a couple of cool things about tuatara. One is that they can be active in cool weather. And for anybody who knows much about reptiles, you know that they are cold-blooded. So they're whatever temperature it is outside. So they have to use the sun to stay warm, and they have to be warm to be active. But tuataras live in a place that is not that warm, and so they have developed, or they've adapted to be able to deal with those cooler temperatures. Their body is typically below 72 degrees Fahrenheit and can go down to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, with them still being able to run around and do things.
Yeah, I feel like that's not fair to other reptiles.
Yeah, right, because at 55, most of the guys around here are asleep.
Dead.
They're 72,
not actually dead, but you know.
Right, brumating. Or,
yes.
Lizard or a reptile form of hibernating. So yeah, they can just deal with the cold, no problem. They also, which helps them because they're nocturnal and it's even colder, they have a third eye on top of their head that's believed to be able to sense light, which triggers hormones, aka your circadian rhythm, which,
I don't think I knew that.
What, the third eye or the circadian rhythm?
No, the third eye.
Okay.
No, circadian rhythm I'm very familiar with, and because mine sucks, so.
Yeah. But no, yeah, they do. They have a third eye on top of their head. And right now it's just like you can't see it unless they're a baby, and then you can see it. And then that gets darker, like the scale over top of it darkens and you can't see anything. But when they're a baby, you can. But unlike some other animals who have like weird light sensing eyes that don't function for anything else, this one has a lens, a cornea, and a primitive retina, which definitely points to the fact that it probably was once a functioning eye.
Yeah, like a real eyeball.
Like a real eyeball on top of their head.
Interesting.
But, I mean, they live on an island probably with lots of seabirds, so having an eye on top of your head would probably be a risk. Just poop right in the eye.
But at the same time, I mean, I could see how it would evolve because you always want to be looking up. You know what I mean?
Right? Death from above.
Yeah.
Like.
But yeah, and then that eye just always gets pecked out. Like.
Oh, jeez. Well, I was thinking poop, not pecked.
This is like our
plucks an eye out.
This is like our could you survive that episode all over again? Where you just take the innocent
Mine's the lighter way, and Katie's immediately dark.
Somebody needs someone or something needs to die immediately. Like it's every time.
Just choke out a swan.
I'm gonna start laughing. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, what was that? Season 2 or 3?
I can't remember.
And it was, it was one of the could yous.
Yeah, could you
fight that? That's what it was.
Fight that.
It was could you fight that? I still.
Katie went dark. Just be ready.
Everything. Because one was I think the one was the swan where you were just gonna kind of bat it away, and I'm like, no, you grab its neck, pull it out of the water,
drown it. Yeah. Intense.
Anyway, tuataras.
Their sex can be determined by temperature like a lot of different reptiles, but that's a big problem for them because of climate change. So as temperatures get warmer, that means less baby boy tuataras are going to be born. So scientists are already starting to pull eggs to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And they can live anywhere from 60 to 100 plus years, which is a really long time.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't.
Dang.
That's, I mean, way longer than lizards, most snakes. And everything about them is just slow. So, yes, they're living that long, but that's because they grow for 35 years. So, they're not even grown up until then. They don't reach sexual maturity until they're 10 years old, which is really late in the game.
Yeah.
Females only produce every 2 to 5 years, which is like, what are you, what?
Get on it, girl. Come on now.
This is your only purpose.
Yeah.
And not to be harsh, but that's...
That's a tuatara way. I mean, come on. It's life.
We just don't know. There's actually a lot more to what's going on there. They're like...
They all have jobs.
Yeah.
Business jobs.
And their incubation of their eggs is 12 to 15 months, which is so
holy crap.
Long. Yeah.
That is very long.
So, I mean, yeah, I guess that would make it at least every 2 years, but
still though, why I mean,
know.
is it because it's so cold that it like slows down the development? Because
maybe,
dang, somebody's got to cook those eggs faster here.
Well, right, yes. And I don't think they're sitting on them.
Jeez.
It's also really, really, really risky because you're just leaving your babies like they're in a burrow. Yeah. But
still, for 12 to 15 months, that's a lot of anxiety for that mom.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Right.
For how long they live, that's a lot of anxiety.
Imagine just having a fetus outside of your body for 12 to 15 months trying to make sure that it doesn't die.
We're not going to talk about our baby.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have another baby fused to the nipple episode. Yeah,
our marsupial talk. Yeah. So yeah, these tuataras are protected because they are in big trouble. They only live on these few islands. They used to live on the mainland, and then...
These stupid island animals,
they're just not... They weren't ready for the predator. They introduced predators. Rats were really their downfall. They can live only where a rat cannot swim. Which is far enough away from the mainland. This episode is just constant throwbacks to other episodes.
I know, right?
So that's a little bit of the natural history real quick. Why is it a living fossil? The whole point of this episode.
Everything you just said.
Yeah. Well, there's more to it. Like, yeah, sure, they're cool lizards, but that's not really like why they're a living fossil. One reason is that they're the only species in their order that's left. So
I guess they should probably survive, important for them.
They're it, yeah.
Yeah.
So Rhynchocephalia, that's the order. There used to be a ton of them in the Jurassic period before the dinosaurs. So, we think of Jurassic Park as being like prime dino time, but not at the beginning of the Jurassic. They used to also, they seem to be a pretty diverse order. And some of them were very, very specialized to certain niches. They all died. Now it's just this modern tuatara left. Most other of the species went extinct about 60 million years ago, at the close of the Mesozoic, probably because it was outcompeted by lizards, snakes, crocodiles, and even other dinosaurs. There's not a lot of fossil record for the tuataras, but this is just wild.
Yeah, because can you imagine? Okay, just finding a fossil in general is so unique.
Previous episode.
Yeah.
We explained how fossils are made.
But it's just so difficult. And then to find a little tuatara fossil, I mean, that's just like a whole other level.
Well, and trying to connect the dots, too. Because 60 million years ago, most died. So they've been around longer. So, yes, there's not a lot of fossil record. However, scientists have recently found a new species in the fossil record when they were going through a backlog of stuff at Harvard. It was literally in a drawer at Harvard since 1982 that had just not been looked at in catalog. That's how backed up they are.
I would be, if I was that original, do they know who originally discovered it?
I don't know.
Because I would be so mad.
Livid.
To be that original person, to have discovered that.
It's been, 40-something years?
You might even I told you. Yeah, I told you guys back then, this was a thing. Nobody listens to me. It's just been sitting in a drawer.
So yeah, they're just looking through it. They use CT scans and statistical modeling and connected it to the modern tuatara. So there was the link that they've been looking for this whole time in a drawer.
in Harvard. Jeez.
Story of my life, though. I'm always losing things. But at least, to be fair, I know they exist.
Yeah, but that's the hard part for me is, like, I know they exist. I just can't find it. I'd be like, I swear there was a fossil around here somewhere that it didn't.
Could be the missing link, and I'll never find it.
I'll never find it.
Or 40 years later.
Dude, you don't even know how true that is for me. Like,
I know.
Because of my ADHD, I just lose everything. And then and poor Luke, like, my son is the same way. So when I have him on the weekends, I cannot tell you how much of our conversations are made up with, where did I put this? From both of us. Where did I put this? I don't know. Where did you put it? I don't know. It's just like the whole weekend of us. I don't know where we put it. That would be us. Good grief.
So the fossil showed that the body plan hasn't changed much in almost 190 million years. So
jeez.
I actually took the quote from this article because it said, researchers argue this lack of change may represent natural selection on overdrive. Slow rates of evolution don't necessarily mean absence of evolution. And basically, it's the evolutionary equivalent of the adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's really what all of these living fossils are. Like, it worked. Why change?
Yeah. So it's just everything else is like growing appendages and everything. And these guys are like, you know what? I think what I have is working right now. Let's just keep it.
And the tuatara also has a really primitive heart, even compared to other reptiles, which already have pretty primitive circulatory systems compared to us. And their brain structure and the posture of where it is in the skull is like ancestors of other reptiles. So we're talking this is maybe like the first reptile.
Yeah, could have been the first one.
Type of. And then last but not least, funnily enough, although they may not have changed based on how sluggish their metabolism is and how it takes forever for them to grow up, and they actually do have the fastest sperm of any reptile.
Oh, they got something going for them then.
Yeah, it's actually 4 times faster. And I feel like this is a case of, they peaked too early. They burnt themselves out. Like, they burnt themselves out just getting to the egg. And then for the rest of their life, they were like, F it.
Yeah, I did my work. I did the hard part. I'm done. And
the reason it's so fast is probably because they don't have a penis. So that little sperm would do it extra hard to get there.
That would do it.
Yeah. And that's a tuatara, a living fossil that nobody really knows about.
Yeah, I feel like that would definitely be, for me, I believe, the hallmark animal that you could use to question people to divide between who's an animal person and who is not an animal person.
Yeah, it's that or the Sicilians, like when you're talking about amphibians.
Yes.
Because everyone skips over them, too.
Yes. I feel like that is how you would divide. Like, if somebody's like, oh, yeah, I like animals, you can figure out, if they say that just because they like dogs.
Or even if they like reptiles, but then forget about this entire
group of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, tuataras, they're cool. All right, well, the first living fossil that I'm going to talk about is one of my favorite animals, and I don't think I've talked exclusively about them yet, but I think we've hit on them quite a few times, and it's crocodiles.
Yeah, I feel, we talked about, I think in passing, you talked about something with, like, mating with crocodiles, I'm pretty sure.
Like I don't remember. Again, this is a good problem to have whenever we, like, have done so many, we're like, I don't remember.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always willing to hear more about crocodiles, so let's go.
Because they are really freaking cool.
Yeah.
So let's go over public PSA from For the Love of Nature is the differences between crocodiles and alligators, since they are commonly confused. All right. Crocodiles and alligators are often mistaken for each other, but they do have distinguishing physical features that set them apart. First, let me just say, if you are close enough to be able to really tell these, you're too close.
Yeah.
Unless you're looking through some bino, you're too close. One of the easiest ways, though, to tell them apart is just geographically. The only place where they are naturally found together is South Florida. Even unnaturally together is Florida, because it's just like a cesspool of animals down there, things that don't belong. Yeah. But in this
case, it is natural.
Yeah, this case, it is natural. So crocodiles can be found in several regions around the world, including Africa, Asia, Australia, and the Americas. They inhabit a diverse ecosystem from freshwater rivers to lakes, to saltwater estuaries and mangrove swamps. So they are pretty diverse. some species, like for instance, the American crocodile can even be found in completely open ocean waters, which is so
freaking
salty.
terrifying.
Yeah, but it's also so salty. Like
the crocodile is so salty, or the...
I immediately he's just like sassy, just all salty about
as it's swimming along.
I'm just like, I mean, that would be a crocodile, just angry. But no, like just the water for like a reptile to live out there. Because you know how you have like the iguanas down the Galapagos, I think it is. They're always like spitting the salt out their noses and everything. I mean, I feel like that would be the same, just so salty. Anyway, crocodiles, though, they have the V-shaped snout and the ability to tolerate salt water, like I said, while alligators have a U-shaped snout and are typically found in freshwater habitats. And yes, it's a V and a U, but I would say more it's like the crocs have a longer, skinnier snout, and the alligators more look like they ran into a wall.
Yeah, like they got a real big snoot.
Yes, to not
and the crocodiles, to not boop.
They are really cute. They're one of my favorite animals. Crocodiles are renowned for their enormous size and weight, with some species measuring up to 23 feet in length.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
it's just a monster,
and weighing over 2,000 pounds.
It's a dragon. It's a living dragon.
It is. When I was in Australia, I saw some there's a difference between in the zoo seeing saltwater crocodiles and then in the wild.
Right, because they're still not 23 feet even in the zoo. Usually. Yeah. I've never seen one that big.
No, but then just seeing it in the wild next to normal things. You know what I mean? Like a guardrail, because that was one of them. Yeah. I was like, holy crap, that thing is huge, because we were on a little bridge and it was down below us and it was up near sunbathing near the side of the road, and there was the guardrail there, a typical metal guardrail, and I was like, that's ginormous, because you could just tell the proportions. They're huge. No thank you.
And they because they're covered in scales that look like armor, they just are like a straight up tank.
No, they are. They so are. And it's those scales that protect them from everything. They prevent infections, and they also aid in retaining moisture in dry environments. Crocodiles have strong and long jaws that are used for catching and killing prey. Their eyes and nostrils are located on the top of their heads, which I think everybody knows that, enabling them to see and breathe while partially submerged. So that's just a little bit of natural history. Now let's go into their living fossiliness. Crocodiles, there's my word. There's my word that I'm...
Oh, yeah, there you go. Fossiliness.
Fossiliness. How fossil is it? I'm going to make a scale, and I'll let you know how fossily that fossil is. Fossiliness.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Crocodiles are very much so referred to as living fossil. I think this is definitely some of the ones that whenever people are like, oh, a living fossil, crocodiles.
Yeah. Everybody who sees one are like, that's a dinosaur.
And it's in so many book intros or anything, like the crocodile, the living fossil, all the time. And that's because, like Laura said, just like the tuataras, they have changed very little over millions of years. Now, the oldest living reptile, living fossil, is the tuatara, like what Laura went over. But the oldest living reptile by age is a tortoise named Jonathan.
That is the most random thing to just add in.
Well, because I typed in the oldest reptile, which as a human, I should have known what that was going to give me. What I meant was, lineage.
Right.
What I got was a tortoise named Jonathan.
Yeah.
Who was hatched in, they believe, 1832. So he's about 191. So yeah, which again, I feel like 191 years old is a bit excessive.
Living strong, go Jonathan.
And he's, at last I heard, he's still making babies. Yeah, so, he's doing just fine. So the crocodiles are, though, as far as lineage goes back, they are one of the oldest living reptiles that we have. The first fossil of a crocodile was discovered in the early 1800s in the United States. In 1822, a partial crocodile skeleton was unearthed in New Jersey and named Teleosaurus, making it the first crocodile fossil to be identified and classified. However, as always with science, Teleosaurus was later discovered to be a misidentification, and it was actually a fossil of a prehistoric marine reptile called the ichthyosaur. So like, you know what? Nope, that's not a crocodile. Again, how they know with the few bones, beyond me. But it was a misidentification. But for that year, that whole first year, year or so, they're like, this is a crocodile. And then for whatever freaking weird reason, the next year is whenever they recognized a crocodile fossil in 1823 in England by a geologist named William Buckland. And that fossil was found in Stonesfield, Oxfordshire, and was initially believed to be a type of lizard. However, Buckland later realized that it was previously unknown species of crocodile and named it Teleosaurus catamenius. So they're like, this isn't this is the same thing. We're just going to add another word to it. It's fine, guys. But I don't know when Buckland, because that's whenever 1823 is like when he actually discovered it. But I don't know when he figured out that it wasn't a lizard and that it was you know what I mean? So I think that was like
a little later.
Yeah, sometime afterwards. But since then, numerous fossils of crocodiles and their prehistoric relatives have been found all over the world, providing very valuable insights into the evolution and history of these ancient creatures.
Did you read anything about, did alligators come from crocodiles, or did they evolve simultaneously from a common ancestor?
I didn't see that, but I
was just curious. It just occurred to me.
I want to say that it's got to be simultaneous. You know what I mean? Like
they both have a common ancestor.
Yeah, they have a common ancestor, but I don't know. I'd have to look. That's completely a guess. But the fossils, they do continue to be a subject of interest for scientists and researchers who seek to better understand their past and present. Because again, to understand, where these possibly are going and habitat, all that kind of stuff, we need to understand the history in the past. So what makes crocodile evolution so unique? Again, as Laura touched on, it's really the lack of evolution that makes them really unique. Studies have shown that crocodiles share numerous physical characteristics with their ancient ancestors, including the four-chambered heart, a tough skin that provides protection against injury and infection, and a powerful tail for swimming. And if you guys haven't seen, there are some gnarly crocodile and alligator injuries out there that are just so gross, like half jaws hanging off, and they're like, no, I'm fine, guys.
Yeah, I saw a video of one getting his arm bit off by another one, and it was not even that phased.
No, it's just like, oh goodness, there it goes. Okay, let's just continue on with my day. Just whatever. But apparently, that was pretty much how they were then too, just tough and scaly and could just take it hit, I guess. But these traits have enabled crocodiles to survive and thrive in a variety of environments over millions of years. Compared to other species, crocodiles have undergone relatively slow evolution, which has contributed to their status as a living fossil. One research article published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences discovered that crocodiles have a slow rate of evolution, which contributes to their living fossil status. So basically somebody just did research on them being fossils and was like, this is a thing. Again, why I am not published, don't know. Well, published in these scientific journals. Anyway, the researchers analyzed the genomes of crocodiles and discovered that over the past 250 million years, their genetic makeup has changed very little. The gradual rate of evolution has allowed crocodiles to maintain their physical traits and adapt to changing environments over time. Because you got to figure, over 250 million years, how our planet has changed.
Yeah.
They're still kicking.
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine, man. That's just crazy. So anyway, the study offers fresh insights into the evolutionary history of crocodiles and explains why they've thrived and survived so long, just looking at the genomes, because it wasn't broke, so they decided not to fix it. Crocodiles are also recognized for their unusual behaviors, which have helped them to survive over millions of years. For example, crocodiles have an impressive ability to regulate their body temperature by sunbathing or cooling off in water. They also have a distinctive way of breathing that allows them to stay underwater for extended periods of time, and they are capable of detecting prey from long distances using their senses.
Cool.
Yep. So anyway, again, they weren't broke, they didn't fix it, and they're just chilling. Crocodiles.
Just chilling crocs.
Yeah. I almost got a crocodile tattoo when I was in Australia. I didn't, but I almost did.
Fun story.
Right? The end scene. Well, because what I really wanted is I wanted a footprint, but I couldn't. How the heck do you do a...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you do that?
The footprint's so cool. When I was in Costa Rica,
so cool.
We saw them on the beach, and it looked like a dragon had just came by.
It does. It looks sweet, yeah.
Okay, well, something else aquatic is my last guy or gal, and it's the horseshoe crab. I feel like I had to do them for several reasons. One, I live in Maryland, and horseshoe crabs are you can find them all through the Chesapeake, but also I grew up loving horseshoe crabs when we would go to Chincoteague.
They're everywhere.
Every summer.
Yeah.
We'd go. They have them in, like, the Nature Center's little touch tank. I was never afraid of them. I always thought they were really cool.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that aren't familiar with horseshoe crabs, here's a little bit of natural history. Okay, so, important note, they are, in fact, not crabs. So let's just start there.
Freaking scientists strike again.
They are related to spiders and other arachnids. They are not a spider or an arachnid, but they are a close relative.
Yeah, closer than being a crab.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Which, yeah, nope. There are 4 different species, which I didn't know. I just figured there's one horseshoe crab all around the world, which is silly. I don't know why I thought that. But there are 3 other species. 1 here in the Americas, and then 3 more over in near Asia.
Okay, so it's okay.
Yeah, just not in this part of the same.
Yeah,
not even in
again,
the same ocean.
Again, though, I never thought about there being multiple, but again, I don't waste a whole lot of brain energy thinking about the taxa of the horseshoe crab.
That's true. Very true. Yeah.
And all my spare time I have.
I wonder if there are more horseshoe crabs out there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, what do they look like? They do kind of look like a crab, but
Alien-like.
Yeah. So they have an exoskeleton. They're brownish in color. They have 10 legs, and their body is divided into 3 segments. The head roughly does resemble the shape of a horseshoe. So it's just like a half circle kind of thing.
Yeah. I was like, kinda. Yeah.
Yeah. The middle part is barely visible.
Yeah.
Or it's like just a tiny little triangle piece. And then the tail is really long and pointy.
They get pretty big, right?
Yeah, decent size, 14
Yeah.
to 19 inches, depending on the sex.
Because I was going to say, I've seen some
Dinner plate,
pretty
for
big
sure.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, and the females are large.
I mean, to be fair, most of the ones I've seen are dead, but,
Yeah.
because the old ones get washed up.
What I had no idea about is that they have 9 eyes and a few light receptors on near their tail. Yeah.
Nailed it. Like on the tail or like...
Yeah. Like
Interesting.
some
Okay.
receptor things. So they have 2 seeing eyes. Okay, normal. They're compound
What is up
eyes.
with you finding all these animals with extra eyes?
I know, it was an accident. Just theme of the day. So they have 2 seeing eyes, and then they have a couple more spread out around, and that are extremely sensitive to light, but not being able to see. And even the ones that can see don't have great vision, but they're, again, just extremely sensitive to light. They actually have the largest rods and cones of any animal. Yeah, but they are very dependent on, like, the moon and, being underwater. The light really matters to them. They come out to breed at nighttime, and it depends on whether it's a new moon or a full moon and all that stuff.
They're really into their astrology and their signs.
Their signs.
They're down there. I'm a Virgo. What are you again?
Yeah. You would think they would all be Cancers, but
They should
not.
be, yeah.
False. All the species live on coastlines, and some are keystone species, meaning that
Wait, did you already say are they all salt?
coastline? I guess they at least have to be brackish.
Yeah. I'll look it up. Good. Keep talking.
Okay. Keystone species. So for anyone who has not heard that term before, it is one that many other species rely on for their health. So they are a key to the area. They also eat worms, mollusks, crustaceans, fish, and algae.
Never mind. It doesn't look like there were any freshwater horseshoe crabs.
Okay, so here's where things get kind of mind-blowing. So the females lay about 100,000 eggs every year. Okay, that is a ton. And one of the reasons why they're a keystone species, because a lot of birds eat their eggs. Okay, and you'd think, okay, with laying, like 100,000 eggs, surely the horseshoe crabs are doing well. Well, the one issue is that they can't breed until they're about 10 years old, which again, is way late in the game.
Yeah.
Especially when you're only living to be about 20. So that's like us not being able to breed until we're like 35. Like,
Couldn't.
it's pretty late.
Just couldn't. Sorry, couldn't.
But even more mind-blowing and is that, okay, yes, they lay 100,000 eggs every year, but scientists estimate that less than 3 of those 100,000 live more than 1 year.
Okay, so here we go. Speaking from an evolution standpoint, you would think that they would have had that figured out by now. You know what I mean?
Like, they had a different strategy.
Yes,
like
something
parental
else.
care. Okay, because something is not working. I mean, yeah, they've got the numbers, thankfully. So less than 3 live. And then that's just 1 year. They have to make it till they're 10 before they can start having babies. So that's probably what, one of 100,000 makes it to reproduction? That's crazy.
Yeah, that just doesn't seem fair.
No, not at all. And that alone makes them not, I mean, yes, there's a lot of horseshoe crabs, but again, they're just playing the numbers game. If they mate between 10 and 20 years old, that's 10 years worth of eggs. That means probably only 10 of your babies are going to make it.
Still, though, you would think after all these years of evolution, they would have something else figured out. You know what I mean?
But no.
Figure something else out, guys.
And so that's their own,
issues.
Right, that's their own issues. But then, of course, people have to make it worse for them. Because so we've mentioned in a previous episode, I can't remember which one, but in some nature news, I talked about horseshoe crabs' insane blue blood.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And how it's used in biomedical testing. Long story short, we use horseshoe crab blood to test biomedical instruments in order to make sure that there's nothing on them, like bacteria-wise, before they're bagged up and sent out and, sterilized one more time and then packaged up. So without horseshoe crab's blood, we wouldn't have any testing of scalpels and all that stuff. Right. Which is just crazy.
So we need their demise to have our life.
Yeah. So we gather, they're harvested. So many are harvested. Thankfully, we're not killing them right away. We're not killing them right off. What you do is you bleed 30% of their blood. And,
we don't kill them off right away. What we do, we just take 30% of your blood. If somebody said that to me, I can't even take 5 vials of blood without me passing out. Can you imagine?
Listen, Katie, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna live. We're just gonna take 30% of your blood, and which you can survive.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna throw you back outside
in the water,
and you're gonna feel like garbage, but it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll recoup.
So needless to say, yes, a lot of them are okay, but a lot of them are also not okay after losing that much blood, and then they just get eaten.
Jeez.
Although, can you imagine the predator that eats them being like, "Why are they so dry?"
Just forgot the sauce or something.
Yeah. It's like when you go to Taco Bell and you get not a filled dude. Let me just tell you right now how triggered I get when I get a Crunchwrap Supreme and it is flat and not full. That would be me as the predator eating the horseshoe crab.
What the heck is this crap?
Okay. So because of all this, the IUCN, which is the organization who classifies how endangered an animal is, they list them as vulnerable. Not endangered, but the step right beforehand. So real quick, why are they a living fossil? Because they've been around for 450 million years. All right, they're the oldest of the old. They have 2 main lineages. One is extinct and one is still around, which is crazy because a lot of the animals that we consider living fossils, they're a modern species.
Yeah.
They are not, their species was not around then. The horseshoe crab species, their lineage was still around. They've still made it. There used to be 110 different species. Now there's only 4. There is an online pictorial atlas of living and fossilized horseshoe crabs. So if you are interested at all in learning more about these creatures and their lineage, look them up. They've got awesome pictures. Some of them looked crazy. They're very specialized.
Hold, please. What's it?
It's a pictorial atlas of living and fossilized, and then their scientific thing, which is Xiphosaura, Xiphosaura.
Okay.
So a 310 million-year-old fossil was discovered that showed soft tissue, which is really rare, listeners. If you've listened to our fossil episode, you'll know the process of fossilization does not usually save soft tissue. Typically, the only way that happens is with amber, like when insects get caught in it. However, that's not the case here. It actually just happened to be that whatever, like, rock and mineral this horseshoe crab died in.
Yeah, we got lucky.
There's another mineral. It actually surrounded the soft tissue and hardened. Then another mineral came in that's a darker color, filled in that cavity once the soft tissue rotted away, and then left a perfect, basically photo image of what the horseshoe crab's brain structure looked. And they could see that's really the way they knew that what they were looking at was a horseshoe crab, because its brain structure looks exactly the same. There's
crazy.
been very little change in 310 million years. Some used to look very different. Like, one of them just looked like a pickaxe, like just the head of a pickaxe.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
But that was a long, long time ago.
Yes.
In the past 150 million years, still a long, relatively speaking, still a long time ago. Really only the size has changed since then. They figured out the body plan by 150 million years ago.
Has it gotten bigger or smaller? Smaller?
Bigger, I think.
Okay.
There were some that were only a couple inches. That was how big they used to be. And then lastly, they've survived 4 freaking mass extinctions.
True, yeah.
Okay? Like, they survived the dinosaur asteroid, and they've just survived 3 other things that killed off most
because they are like, I mean, very much so like crocodiles. They're just like little tanks, so they probably just chilling in the bottom of the water.
They're literally just a helmet. They're an upside-down helmet.
Just hanging out.
Yeah. Sheltered in place. Yeah. And
guys, if we just stay right here, we'll be fine. Sure enough, they were.
After reading all of this, I got a moment where I got really angry and sad, because I was thinking it would be some real BS if it was us that made them go extinct.
Right? No,
after them living through 4 mass extinctions. An asteroid. They survived an asteroid.
But
and
humans,
it was us that ended them.
Humans draining them of their blood.
Like vampires. Yeah. Poor things. Can you imagine being taken by an alien species and bled and then just thrown back?
I mean, I
guess people do claim that happens.
Yeah,
to them,
just butt stuff and then thrown back onto Earth. There's still that mug. I think I sent it to you that says, "Get in, losers. We're doing butt stuff," and it's just this guy getting like sucked up.
Spaceship?
Yeah, getting taken up into a spaceship. Get in, loser. We're doing butt stuff. Makes me laugh every time.
That's so good. And that's the horseshoe crab.
Alrighty. Right, well, the last one that I wanted to cover was the lungfish.
Ooh.
So these are one of the ones, I don't know how to describe it.
They're freaky.
They are freaky.
They're freaky.
Yeah, they're freaky. Not like not as gross as like a lamprey or
the hagfish that I talked about the other week.
Yeah, which is so disgusting. I don't think these ones are cute. Anyway, these ancient fish, they're unique in many ways, including their ability to breathe air, their low reproductive rate, and their amazing ability to survive in harsh environments. The reproductive rate of lungfish is relatively low compared to other fish species. Females typically lay only a few dozen eggs at a time, which is much lower than other fish species that can lay, of course, thousands of eggs at a time.
Yeah.
Additionally, lungfish have a long gestation period, with some species taking up to 5 months to hatch. Okay, so here's the thing. So many of these ones, I mean, we're knocking them for being like, hey, the risk that you're going to take.
But they've made it.
But they've made it. So, clearly there's something. Yeah. Forget hiding your babies. Stick them out for the predators. There's clearly something to it. But that low reproductive rate is believed to be an adaptation to their harsh and unpredictable environment, where the sources or resources are limited and survival is difficult. By producing fewer offspring, lungfish can invest more energy into each individual offspring, increasing their chances of survival. So for the lungfish, that is how they did fewer, so they can actually take care of them, which again is weird for a fish.
I was gonna say, what does that even look like?
I don't know.
They just hang around? Yeah,
I think so. And then I don't think they're like regurgitating food and stuff, but I mean, you never know, because there are some species that do that. Lungfish can be found in Africa, South America, and Australia, and are known for their large size. Okay, so I always thought that lungfish were like relatively small. I don't know where I got that stuck in my head, but like I always thought like a foot or so in length.
I've never even thought about a lungfish.
Not the case at all. Out of the 6 different current lungfish, most species grow to a fairly big size. The Australian lungfish may weigh up to 22 pounds and grow to a length of 4 feet. There's a South American species that reaches about also 4 feet. And then the largest one, which is the yellow marbled Ethiopian species. It's the largest, and it can grow to just under 7 feet.
Whoa, that's freaking huge.
Yeah, which is
and
really
they've
big.
got like little legs they walk on.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. Like
Just
that
a
would
little
be
guy
kind of
walking
creepy.
along a river. Yeah.
But of course they're not like legs. They're like appendages.
No.
So it's like hobbling, like a Quasimodo. Like, you know what I mean? Like not even like a good walk, not like a lizard, like a wobble. I don't know why I thought that they were always just so small, but no, they can be fairly large. One of the most fascinating facts about lungfish, of course, is their ability to breathe air. While most fish extract oxygen from water through their gills, lungfish have specialized air-breathing organ that allows them to extract oxygen directly from the air. This adaptation is believed to have evolved in the Devonian period over 370 million years ago, making lungfish, again, one of the oldest fish groups in existence. And this, too, I mean, you figure is like sediments and things like that. Whenever we're talking about like harsh environments or like the pH,
low dissolved oxygen.
Yeah, that they're able to survive. Because the places that like don't have a whole lot of oxygen in the water, they come up to the surface to breathe. I mean, that's kind of the benefit of what they can
Why
do.
don't all fish do that? Since it's developed so long ago, I can't believe it didn't catch on.
Yeah, no one else. They were like the dorks. Like no one. They're like, oh guys, I can do this. Everyone else is making fun of them.
Straight oxygen, yo.
Yeah. This is great, guys. And everybody's like making fun of them. Meanwhile, they're the ones still. Despite their long evolutionary history, lungfish, just like crocodiles, have retained many of the same characteristics their ancient ancestors, which has led some scientists to consider them living fossils. The first fossil of a lungfish was discovered in Scotland in 1838 by a Scottish geologist, Hugh Miller. And since then, numerous fossils of lungfish and their prehistoric relatives have been found all over the world. So what makes them a living fossil is their ability, of course, just like all the others, to retain pretty much all of the same characteristics as their ancient ancestors, despite the millions of years of evolution. For example, they've retained their ability to breathe air, so that's something they've always been able to do to survive in low oxygen environments, and even to burrow into mud to survive drought. So even during drought seasons, they'll dig their way and make a burrow and just hunker down in there.
Survivors.
And just wait. And I'm like, okay, drought's done. Let's come back up. So all of this has made them an important subject of study for scientists, especially in the evolutionary and history of life. Because, of course, they have the appendages, they can breathe air, they're a fish. Is this like that, the chain, the missing link species or what? Yeah. So recent research has shed new light on the evolutionary history of lungfish and their place in the tree of life. A study published in the Journal of Nature in 2013 found that lungfish are more closely related to terrestrial vertebrates such as reptiles and mammals than to other fish. This discovery has significant...
crazy.
Yep. So that has implications for our understanding of the evolution. Yeah, and then to fish. So it's... Yeah.
So like they're like... Yeah, that's nuts. They're more like a reptile than they are a fish, even though they look just like a fish.
A fish, yep.
That's nuts.
So, in conclusion, the lungfish, they are a fascinating group of ancient fish species that have survived for over 400 million years. They're known for their unique ability to breathe air, their low reproductive rate, and their amazing ability to survive in harsh environments, and that's how they were able to stay around for so long.
That's crazy. What a cool animal. I kind of think they're cute. I think they look a little bit like an axolotl, just without the gill, like the frillies.
Yeah, I just think they're
like their
ugly.
faces kind of look like it. And I like the fact that they can kind of walk. I kind of want one.
But it's got to be like a hobble, you know, like a
Or but they must like look like they're gliding when they're underwater.
If you say so. Well, make sure you guys go talk with us and follow us on Twitter, and then check out our Patreon page for the love of nature. You can find us there to support us so we can keep bringing you random content like this.
Yeah, and we will be back on track to be releasing episodes every week, Lord willing, and the sun do shine. Is that the phrase?
and the sun do shine.
I can't remember if that's the real phrase. But now that you know probably more than you wanted to know, your curiosity should be piqued, and hopefully you care just a little bit more. Talk to you next week.
Bye.